Hey everyone, sorry, I was just getting my setup ready for today's validation blog. I think I'm going to try to do this every day. Um, kind of ambitious, but we'll see. I'll try. Hey everyone. So today I wanted to talk about, I guess, privilege in relation to culture and politics. I was talking to one of my friends last night, and he's very conservative, and I'm very leftist. And so we were talking about equality specifically, and we got into kind of a conversation about affirmative action, and he's basically like, how is it right to be racist? Just so in that way, so that anyone who's not a minority can't get a job or grant or scholarship or whatever. And I was just like, well, affirmative action, it isn't about being racist. The whole premise of affirmative action actually is to sort of negate racism. The idea is that we want to create diversity in the workplace. And once, we have an equal representation of people, an equal representation of blacks, Latinos, whites, Asians, men, women, all of this stuff. Once we have an equal representation, then we don't need affirmative action anymore. Affirmative action isn't a policy that's like, let's continue this forever. Like, the idea is once we've created the diversity and equality, then we can, get rid of affirmative action because it's not needed anymore. So, a lot of people will call affirmative action reverse racism, which was sort of what he was referring to. I can understand the feelings there that, you're sort of discriminating against whites and men specifically. I guess you could also say people who are able and not disabled, people who identify as straight, but I mean, it's mostly concerning women and blacks. Mostly. So, I guess white males then feel like they are being discriminated against. And I sort of get it, but at the same time, it's just like, it just makes me crazy. Like, I just got so enraged. And, he was just talking about how, I was just, talking about, why the policy is needed and citing different statistics that talk about, racism is still around, sexism is still around, and then he said, something which is false, by the way, that, like, women don't push as hard for raises, because I was talking about how women only make about 80 cents for every dollar that men make for the same work, and he was like, well, that's because women don't push as hard for raises, but actually they've shown that that's bullshit, and then when women do push for a raise, they are rejected much, much more than men, and they're also not encouraged to seek promotions, and also male bosses are much more likely to give raises and promotions to men. So it's completely false. And it's also been shown that women seek raises just as often as men. So it's false. And I was just so angry because it's like, I was thinking, why is it always that the people I talk to about this that are on the right wing side are white males? Like, they're always white males. I have never had someone on that side, on the right side of the issue, that's not a white male. And why that's so significant, because it shows that of course, white males in American society have the most privilege, and it's so unrecognized. Like, that's the issue. It's like, all of the people I've talked to on the right side, they just don't recognize that they have privilege over other people. And I'd say rightly and wrong. I mean, it's not right, but it's very hard to see privilege unless you look for it clearly, unless you're a critical thinker and all of that stuff. It's so hard to see. And it takes a lot of soul searching and sort of like checking yourself constantly. I always think I'm in an interesting situation because, I'm a woman, but I'm also white. So I have privilege in one area, but in the other I don't. So I remember, when I was younger, maybe elementary, middle school age, I'd hear stuff about racism and be like, thinking, well, that was something that, was in the past. It doesn't really happen anymore. And just not even, and just seeing racism as sort of a ideology, but not something that was actually out there. Like it was an idea. Like I understood the idea, but it wasn't something tangible, I guess, if that makes sense, in the culture. But as I got more aware and critical and into social issues, once that stuff started happening, I started seeing it all the time and being like, wow, racism really is a problem. Sexism really is a problem. Sexism I've always been a little bit more aware of, but racism I've been, like I said, because I had the privilege, I recognize how I didn't see it and how I was blinded to it. Because if you do have the privilege, the thing is that you're sort of made or culturally ingrained, like, and to have like blinders on. So you don't see the instances of racism, like if you're white, or sexism if you're male, because you're sort of taught that it doesn't exist, it doesn't happen, and since you have the privilege in the situation, you don't recognize the person that is devalued. It's a really complicated issue, but I guess I just wanted to say that I just think we really need to work as a culture to educate everybody that has privilege. And everyone has some sort of privilege, actually, unless you're a black female. Because, black females, that's the devalued group in both instances. But, there's black males and they're valued one and one isn't. Same with white females, one is valued, one isn't. But white males, of course, have the most privilege. But for those, even for black females, I still think it's important to talk about this privilege stuff and, so that we can recognize it. Because I think, if people, like the person, my friend, like saw, like was taken out of their privilege box and like was forced to be a white female for a day or a black whatever, they'd be like, oh yeah, I understand you saying there's sexism and racism and stuff. Like, I think they would get it. So it's very hard. It's a really complicated issue. It's very sensitive for a lot of people. But yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about that. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, with another validation blog. I love doing this. This is so much fun. It's like my personal therapy. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.